So what's going on, y'all, and welcome back to the For the Winners podcast. I'm your host Nate, and first and foremost, man, I really appreciate y'all for taking the time to literally listen to this podcast. Though, y'all don't know how much this really means to me, man. And as a little milestone thing today, for the winners, we actually passed 5,000 followers today, man. That man almost freaking cried, man, it's just really a blessing. So I really appreciate you all for taking the time out to listen to this podcast. But, I won't get super emotional. But today, look, we got a crazy guest on this podcast, man. He's a journalist. He wrote for all types of outlets, Complex, MTV News, et cetera. Worked with Pusha T, Roddy Rich. And it's just a lot, man. And this episode is just really dope, man. I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like it'll provide a lot of value to, first and foremost, people that's in the music industry, and also to entrepreneurs that's looking to get PR type looks and work with different journalists and stuff like that. From this episode, you will really understand how to go about reaching out to journalists and what type of stories to get them, and a lot of other different things that we really covered in this podcast. So, you're definitely going to get a lot of value. And also, just to let you all know, if you're an artist listening to this right now, we just put on cover art onto our website. So we're selling cover art and marketing packages right now. And as you all know, we work with people from Def Jam, Double MG, that's Rick Ross's label, and a lot of other different places. So if you're an artist and you're listening to this right now, go ahead and cop some cover art or cop some marketing services from us. Also, if you're an entrepreneur, look, we sell Shopify stores, we sell courses and stuff like that help you with Facebook ads. So honestly, it's really no excuse as to why you're not making any type of progress in your business or in your brand. You know what I'm saying? Because we have everything there. So if you need cover art, marketing services, if you're an artist, hop on forthewinners.com. If you need a website, you need to know how to run Facebook ads, know how to build your Twitter account or whatever, go to forthewinners.com and we will put you together. And matter of fact, look down in the description of this podcast, and it'll be like a little promo code down there for all of those people who are really paying attention. You know what I'm saying? That's a little treat for you. So let's get into this episode. That's enough of me talking. Now let's go. What's going on, y'all? We are back with another episode of the For the Winners podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and today we have a special guest, man, my guy, Trey Alston. Now, this guy, he is a freelance journalist, right? That's what I could say, right? Freelance writer, freelance journalist. He's written for MTV News, Paper Magazine, Vulture, Pitchfork, Complex. The list goes on. And I was really just excited to talk to this guy, man. So I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and just taking some time out of your day to come on and have some fun, have a good conversation, bro. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
No doubt, no doubt. So, before we start everything, let everybody know where they can find you, and still give them a little bio about you too. Let them know where to find you on social media, and give them just a small little bio too. Still.
Yeah, man. So, you can find me on Twitter, and Instagram at Trey Treyals, Trey Alst, just like the first three letters. My first name and three last name. And so, yeah, I'm a 27-year-old freelance music journalist, kind of trying to transition out of that more into becoming an author. But yeah, man, just content creator. Been doing this for the last, I'd say, 4 years, and in the last two have really been coming into my own. I've worked with everybody from like Pusha T to Roddy Rich. I'm currently working with Pusha T and his label Airwave Music Group. I'm also a freelance copywriter on the side. I'm just really trying to, I know that I'm good at using words. So I'm trying to put my words to work. It's actually a title of an ebook that I'm working on. So yeah, that's me.
You better than me, because that's literally like one of my worst, that's like my weak points. Honestly, man, I can barely write like a super professional email. I literally be having to have somebody to really write that shit out for me. And it's so bad, but I, I'm not even gonna go there. Let's go back on you, bro. So look, I honestly like to understand where people like how people developed into who they developed into. So one of the questions I like to ask is like who were you in high school? Like who were you in high school? Or even you can even go back. No, let's just start with high school. Who were you in high school? Who was
Man,
Trey?
to be honest, man, I was just the cool, funny guy around, man. Like I'd say about ninth or 10th grade, I really got into social media. You know, I've been using MySpace and things like that. But once Twitter rolled around, I think I just got out of a relationship in 10th grade with my ex girlfriend, and I just started cracking jokes up there. You know, cracking jokes on Facebook, and I'm not gonna say really built a following, but people started to tune in to, hey, this guy's kind of funny. Blah blah blah. And so throughout that time, I had been interested in journalism. Like I had a journalism class in high school, and just growing up, even though I write music journalism now, I was really focused on video game journalism because I guess coming from not necessarily a financially challenged household, if I wanted to buy something, I wasn't going to get another one of those in a while. So I had to read the review to make sure that it was good before I bought it. And so just reading video game reviews and just the stories behind these games made me think that, hey, I already like writing and reading. I think I want to go ahead and use this, I guess, love and turn it into a talent. And so, yeah, just in high school, just cracking jokes online, just things like that, just turned into this love for journalism. Because seeing that there are certain reporters and certain styles of writing that allow you to be funny. And there are people that use that funniness to build a following, to build a career.
That's actually super interesting. That's super interesting. So would you say that you found your talent of writing from posting online?
Yes, because
And then you, no,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead,
what?
go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely say that because I think one of the big things when I was in high school, like, like I had friends and things like that. But once I guess, started really just voicing who I am and, just like cracking jokes and things like that, people, started to respond like, hey, this is funny or this is written really well. Like it'd be like a hidden punchline or something that, it just got a very good reception. And so by the time that I really started focusing on music journalism, because even honestly, through college, I was kind of nervous to even like write for the school newspaper because I was like, man, they're not gonna think I'm good. So I just never
Yeah.
really did it. And so I remember I did a review of Lil Yachty's Lil Boat mixtape that came out. I want to say it was top of 2016, and people loved it. And I mean that kind of really showed me that there was something there that I could do, and I could
Mhm.
just kind of build onto that and just learn how to become a better writer, and just go from there.
That's super interesting. And I feel like one of the platforms that can really expose that is Twitter. Like
Yeah,
is really Twitter, man. And that's and it's I feel like it's a lot of other people who have similar stories as you who like found a talent in writing from platforms that derive from writing. Maybe it's Medium or maybe it's I don't know Reddit or maybe it's Twitter. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's really that's really crazy, man. So like you found your talent in writing from social media, and then you found your interest in it, like in the profession in school.
yeah, yeah, and it
Okay,
it
that.
just blossomed to a love.
Hmm. So fast. So like okay. So fast forwarding. What? How did you go about even getting like your first staff writer position or placement? You know what I'm saying? Or like how did that all come about? Like what was the like the grind or the work or the, maybe I don't know if it came through like maybe you were in school or came through an internship or or whatever like how did that all come about? Like how did you get in the door with these companies? Like how does I don't even know how this stuff even works when they hire writers. So like how did all of that come about?
Okay, so I'd count my first real staff position. I used to write for Hip Hop DX, which is it's a pretty
Yeah,
cool
I'm
hip hop
with it.
site they do. Yeah, so so I realized like early on, like after initially I say maybe my junior year of college, I was like, cool, I need to start applying these internships because what was happening with me is that when I'd apply to the newsrooms around the 757 where I'm from in Virginia, a lot of them wouldn't hire me, solely off of, I guess, prerequisites. Like I didn't have the proper background to take on an internship for, just a bunch of different reasons. And so I realized like, I need to get an internship, if I want to go ahead and pursue, music journalism, I need to get into the field. And so there is a website called Free Fashion Internships. I believe it still exists. They just list all of these opportunities around the country, and a lot of them are virtual. And so I applied to Potent Magazine. It's a Jamaican fashion publication, and I
Mhm.
was just writing about music for them. And so what happened with that is that like when you're writing for free, a lot of places are willing to hire you because they're trying to make money from ads and stuff and bring in clicks to their site. So as long as they don't have to pay you, they'll let you go ahead and work for them. And so I use that to get on to maybe three or four different other websites. Website called Mo Boombox. There's a website called Blackpire, and there was one more. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But what had happened was I used to work at a commissary, just like like a grocery store. And so
Mhm.
when I was there, I was just interested in. I seen Hip Hop DX. I seen the editor. I started following him on Twitter, and so I emailed him one day, and I was just like, "Hey, like by this time, I had built up maybe like 30 or 40 like free posts, just showing like, hey, I do this. This is what I do." And so I reached out to him, and he actually let me hop on the phone with him for an interview because they were actually looking for somebody to join their team. And so we chopped it up for like maybe like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. And he offered me the job. And so for maybe like a 2 or 3 month stint, I was working exclusively for Hip Hop DX on their staff. And it was an amazing experience. And I really count that as the first one that I got. So yeah.
So the opportunity, the major opportunity came through Twitter, right? Pretty
Yeah.
much came through Twitter. Now, even when you say like you work for free, like I don't even count that. I don't even count that stuff as working for free. I mean, technically you're working for free, but how I look at it is like you can use these different names to like leverage yourself into actual jobs or leverage
Yeah.
yourself into other opportunities just because people see that credit by your name. Like like literally, and a lot of people don't even really think about that. And this is kind of a debate that I have with people too. I don't know, you may completely disagree with me on this, but like even when it comes to doing free work, if you're like an entrepreneur, like if you're just trying to get your foot in the door with somebody offering something for free, number one, a lot of entrepreneurs don't want to do that. Or if it's people that's like not entrepreneurs or people who are working, they do like free internships and people complain about like free internships. Me personally, like I can see the argument of like, yo, like you got me in here working for fucking free. Like this is the whole ass business. You got me in here working for free when you can obviously pay me. But on the other end, it's like more of a, in my opinion, it's like a more of a long term play. Like like my first clients, I did all of those things for free, like
Yeah.
all of them, and like and even in the beginning, like I couldn't even afford to drive to the clients that I was doing. I was doing like social media stuff and like website stuff. Like I couldn't even afford to drive to the clients, so I would like sleep overnight, so I wouldn't have to drive home and then drive. You know what I'm saying? But like it
Yeah.
was more so just like a long term play because I knew that I could leverage that into something else. And even with like these internships, like you literally in the fucking building with the people that you want to work for. Like even if you don't even get the job, you have the contact. Like the contacts is really where the real money is at. Like it's the real money is in your phone, like your phone book, your contact list. Because when you lose, like you'll never not have a job if you have a good contact list. Like
Yeah.
literally, like and a lot of people don't be thinking, don't really be like thinking like that. And like what you just said, and like how you went about, getting your foot in the door is like would I really be screaming from the rooftops a lot of the time. And I see like how a lot of people like not to go on a tangent about it, but I see like a lot of
Yeah.
people, you know, they either disagree with me or they just or they may really need the money at that time, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. But like I don't know, man. Like if it's really what you want to do, like you got to play them long term like chess moves with shit. Like you really got to be strategic, and I could see, I could pretty much see that's what you did. So man, definitely that's definitely what's up. That's definitely what's up with that. So like with Twitter, how many people have you reached out to through Twitter? Because Twitter is really a weapon for meeting people. Like it
It is
really is. It really is. So like how many people have you met like through Twitter?
tons, man. I'm talking about my MTV News job, my Pitchfork job, and even the current copyrights. So look, let me break off into one tangent about free work, and I'm bringing that back into what you just said. All right. So I've really been into copywriting as well, and I've been able to connect with Droga Five's chief creative officer. His name is Felix Richter, right? He is, their big guy, and I contacted them, and they wanted to bring me into the fold. Like I'm currently going through this ad program, and they wanted to bring me in the fold strictly off of some free work that I did for other people, just because I wanted to get my foot in the door. So I truly do believe in the value of free work. I just think that it has to be for the right people. Like if you want to meet somebody
Agreed.
that's yeah, like if it's somebody I guess who's in a better spot, like like if I'm working one of my homie sites, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, it's just an arguable point, but I see what you're saying. But I've reached out to a lot of people on Twitter. Um, I've reached out to editors from everywhere. Even like when I first started in journalism, period, I was reaching out to just journalists I see on my timeline, just kind of wondering like, hey, you got any tips for me? How you do this? And honestly, a lot of them didn't hit me back, but it's like I kind of understand it because you can kind of find a lot of that stuff online. But when it comes to just like copywriting clients, whether it's editors, whether it's people for a story, I say at least 100. I know it's probably more than that, but at least 100.
See, man. And another cool thing about Twitter though is like a lot of the major people don't have as big of a following on Twitter as they do other platforms. And that's
Yeah,
like where you can really take advantage of a lot of shit because it's way easier for them to see you talking to them. Like even if it's just under their post, like it's way easier than really anywhere else for them to really see you you talking to them because Twitter is literally based off conversations. It's meant for you to like really like talk to people and join in on conversations that you wouldn't regularly like hop pretty much like hop into. Like you could just hop in a random person's conversation and it feels normal. You know what I'm saying? Versus if it was like on Instagram or something like that, if you're not like a major person or a random person just hopping on your page and saying some shit under your post, it feel a little bit more weird than it would on Twitter. Like it'll just be a random person from I don't know Japan or some shit like just commenting
yeah,
underneath your post and it just feel cool. Like that's just the thing that people do on there. And like man, a lot of people really do not take advantage of that. But like speaking of people reaching out, when it comes to now I know you doing this stuff with the hip hop writing, and with that comes rappers
yeah.
reach reaching out. So like what's the deal with rappers reaching? Do you get a lot of rappers reaching out to you like yo like can you write this article or yo can I pay you a couple thousand to do boom 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 like what's up with that?
Yeah, so man, I've had this one guy who owns a publishing agency, I believe in Alaska. He offered me like $3,000 a month to start working exclusively trying to shop his artists. And I mean, it's one of those things to where I can't necessarily help as much. Like, I could probably introduce you to the right people. Of course, I'll do that. I'm not gonna, be a dickhead and charge you and stuff. But I mean, a lot of the times that stuff it just isn't going to pan out. Like when I pitch something, it really is always up to the editor and their discretion, and if they think that it's going to be good for the site, things of that nature. And a lot of the time, like I can explain that to the artist, but either they're not going to believe me or they're going to think I can do more for them. So it's definitely it comes with it. You get a lot of offers and things like that, but just like in the world of journalism, that kind of stuff, like you taking payment for that, isn't looked at in a great light. And of course, it's ethically wrong, so I wouldn't do it anyway. But you can get in a lot of trouble playing around with that kind of stuff. So I usually just, if somebody offer me money, they'll offer me money to email somebody some music. And the first thing that I say in the email or the message is like, I can't take payment for this, bro. This, but I can send this off to you. Like, I'll definitely email it, no problem. But like in terms of taking payment for something, I just step away. And I do meet a lot of rappers in my DMs though. And I'll try to, introduce myself because like I remember, like I was saying earlier, like even as a journalist reaching out to some people, you don't get a response. And it's cool, people are busy and things like that, but it does kind of suck at the end of the day. At least it did when I first started. So I don't try to be a dickhead. Like I'll write back, but a lot of the times, honestly, I won't see it. Like I'll see it later. And so I just usually just try to keep it cordial. I treat rappers and anybody else how I'd want to be treated, man. And then I'm from Virginia, man. It's super slow down here. Like it's more or less friendly, and so I ain't about to treat nobody bad. Hey, what's up, bro? Like
Right.
shit like
So
that,
wait.
man.
So wait. So all right. So I want to jump back into like the process of an article even being like written about someone. So
Yeah.
like the way the process goes is you think of an idea and then you pitch it to someone and write about it, or do you write about it and just and then get it like, yo, I wrote this, like post it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
how does that go?
So
Because I feel
I mean,
like
unless
not to
yeah.
cut you off, but I feel like understanding this process will probably help out any like artists that may be listening to this with understanding how to actually reach out to a journalist, and then even understanding the process of getting something approved or getting something or just the whole. I feel like when you understand the system, you can maneuver through it a lot easier because you know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like how does the entire process go with an article being published on, I don't know, MTV or Vulture or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the process, it honestly it kind of varies from publication to publication, but for the most part, you're going to be pitching the idea. So what it is basically, I'm going to use two different artists for example. Say Drake is dropping a new album in 2 weeks, so he makes that announcement, and I see that, boom, I have an idea for an article. I'm going to pitch my editor and be like, hey man, Drake's coming out with a new album, and he's had this happen. He just collaborated with Lil Durk. He just, just whatever he's done. I like to talk to him about this. And if the editor thinks that there's an angle that's going to be good for the website and that's going to, I guess, see that drive and clicks and engagement, they're going to go ahead and assign the article. And then it's Drake. He's a clicks machine, so they're going to assign
Right.
that. But say it's a rapper, not necessarily a local rapper, but a rising rapper. That stuff is it's a lot harder to place for bigger publications like MTV News or a Pitchfork because a lot of the times that stuff doesn't perform well. Like they usually, from what I've seen, these sites or publications, they take a look at the how much engagement an article gets, how many page views, clicks, like how much attention an article gets, and so if it does good, they're liable to assign more of those. So whether it's like if I'm pitching an article about a producer and that does good, they might let me pitch an article about another producer because they know that people are interested in this. This audience is interested in this. When it comes to a rising artist, like say somebody who has like 300 followers, which may not, followers don't equate to everything. They don't have much of a fan base. They're only getting 60 to 70 to 80 plays on SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. An editor at a national publication most likely isn't going to pick that up because it's not going to get the attention they want, and it's space for another article that could have been assigned that is. And with a large, well, I mean, journalism is, it's honestly, music journalism is a failing industry, and so they don't want to exacerbate that. They don't want their website to be, proof that hey, it's not getting that much attention. Like advertisers and things, like they're not, the money isn't going there. So when it comes to rising artists, like what I usually try to do is I'll look to see if there's a national angle to that. Like say for instance, like I said, like a rapper he has 60 or 70 plays, but he just won a competition where he got to meet Russ or got to meet Rihanna and talk to her or something. A publication might pick that up depending on how newsworthy that conversation is. But if it's just, this person is coming out with a new album, 99% of the time aren't going to pick that up unless they have some kind of personal attachment to it.
So would you say it'll be a smarter angle for the artist? Because I'm pretty sure, like, and this is another conversation that I was going to get into as far as the artist even pitching themselves to a journalist. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I feel like it'll probably be smarter for the artist to pitch something that's not directly in tune with his music. Maybe a
Yeah,
story around his brand. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
yeah,
like something like that, you know what I'm saying? Or something like entertaining, you know what I'm saying? Or heartfelt. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
things that are like more like marketing center. You know what I'm saying? And not like
yeah.
promo center. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like probably a lot of artists that come to you are giving like promo type pitches, like yo, I'm this artist, I'm from here, I'm dropping this, I'm this type of rapper. Am I right or am I off? You could tell me if I'm off, but I'm just assuming. You know what I'm saying? So like, is that true or?
Yeah, like usually like a day or two, or even the day of that they're about to drop, I just get like a DM with like the link to the music, like, hey, I'm so and so from so and so. This is my new music. Would love for you to write about it for, some place that they know that's probably not going to get up to.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like artists should just like pretty much first and foremost try to match the mind of the brand that they're pitching their music to. You know what I'm saying? Like first and foremost. So like different brands have like different feels to them. So like a certain type of article about yourself as an artist would fit differently, in different types of publications. So like number one, think in the mind of the actual brand, and then number two is like think of compelling stories or do like I don't know, think of compelling stories or just something that's just not like promo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I honestly kind of want to say think clickbait. Like that's honestly as
yeah.
far I kind of want to say that, but I don't know if I should. Like, should they be thinking like think brand first, who the brand is, and think what's clickbait worthy for the brand? Is that
I def
is that is that a good way to break that down?
Yeah, because like I mean I've seen like I use a rapper from around my way that he's had music, like he's had a couple of clips go viral on Twitter where there's playing a piano at the mall. But what made him get the attention of Freddie Gibbs recently, and a couple of he's had a huge moment recently, is because he probably spent a couple $100 on a billboard just randomly about love during quarantine. And that one billboard has gotten him more attention than he's ever probably seen in his entire career. And it's gotten him coverage just off of that. Even though the music is still the same, his music was good. It was good before. It was getting the attention that I know he probably wanted. So when you focus on your brand like that, it makes it easier for people to pick up and people wanting to pay attention.
See, that's honestly a major. I feel like that's honestly a major gem, like a super major gem. And you said the guy he had a billboard that was talking about love during quarantine.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact what it said. I could probably send it to you after, but it
Yeah.
basically had his picture in like a 1-800 like hook up, like, or I'll listen
Oh,
to
I
your.
think I actually saw that. I think I actually saw that on Twitter. That shit is actually genius too, though. That shit is actually fucking genius, yo. See, that's that's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's more like clickbait worthy. See, so okay, so now we talked about like how an artist should pitch the music. Now, when it just comes into the industry itself, why do you say that music journalism is like a failing industry though? Is it because people aren't visiting sites anymore or on strictly social, or like why you say it's a failing industry?
It's a combination. It's really just a combination of that. Like when it comes to the sites, a lot of so when you look at your MTV Newses, when you look at your like Pitchfork. Well, I'm not gonna say Pitchfork because I've seen they have a pretty large staff, but a lot of the times, like Vibe magazine or Billboard, a lot of the times their staff, as big as these sites are, that reach around the world, their staff is made up of about three people, like, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, like a lot of these places, like even when I went to visit Viacom when I got hired, like, I thought it was gonna be, a massive newsroom. Like when you look at like I guess like old movies, and they show like people running around on
Mhm.
phones, and 40, 50 people. It's literally like 10 people. Like I know in the music section, MTV News, it was me and my editor, and we ran the entire like music news section of the site. And this
Damn.
happens, yeah, this happens because, well, I mean, people are visiting the sites, but it's not enough to justify hiring a lot of people. And so that's why, like, I mean, it's one of those things where like music journalism is cool, but I really don't think it's something to uh, build a future in if it's not around your brand. Like if you're an aspiring journalist, or anything related to that, aspiring music journalist, you study music, whatever you do should be in service of building your brand, whether it's working for free, whether it's working for a Pitchfork or MTV News or a Billboard or whatever. You need to be building your brand, because these sites, they aren't hiring that much because there isn't just enough money. More people are turning to, actually read a study or something about this recently, saying that like playlists are even like more important, like music reviews and things like that. And here's the thing: say you do get hired by one of your dream sites, you're like on average, you're looking at maybe $60,000 a year, which isn't nothing. And a lot of the times they require people who work for these platforms to live in New York or LA, where the cost is really high. So you're spending that entire 60K basically fighting to get by. And because the industry isn't sustainable, you can work anywhere from, you can stay there for 2 years, 5 years, you could be there for 3 months. You can get laid off at the snap of a finger if they don't think that your section is good enough to keep going. Like with MTV News, like I got laid off in April, and they laid off 500 people across Viacom that day. My I think my severance package is, I'm through that, so I can talk about it. But they laid off 500 people that day, and most of our entire MTV News staff got let go. And I was reading the comments on Twitter that day. I got a lot of overwhelming support. People were like, uh, you know, uh, this is normal for the chorus. And I looked it up, and MTV News has done the same thing like three different times, supposedly three different times over the last like 3 or 4 years. And it's something that happens across, like, recently. I mean, they places blame it on the pandemic, but this has always been happening. Like ESPN had a thing called, they had a site called Grantland. They got rid of the people. That's more sports journalism, but Vibe got rid of most of his people. And so yeah, it's just one of those things where it's not sustainable because people aren't clicking these sites like that. So whatever you need to do, like, don't rely on having this job for the rest of your life, because it's not going to happen. Like, you need to be building your brand so you can survive when the inevitable flood comes and washes your
And I feel
platform.
like today, like I feel like what people should be using these things for is leveraging the brand to make themselves bigger.
Exactly.
Number one, that's what they should be doing. Because honestly, you can jump into music journalism just by making a fucking social media page and making a $25 website, and then you leveraging the big brand that you work for to automatically elevate the brand that you just created. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you just taking the contacts that you made out of that media company that you work for and just using it for your your personal social media page. You know what I'm saying? Because I know people who have these just regular social media pages, hundreds of thousands of followers, and these major artists are going to these social media pages to get like repost or like get talked
Exactly.
about, or like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like only thing that's really separating them social media pages from the actual like media companies is really just the brand. It's the brand name, honestly. Like like it's really just the brand name. It's just saying like, yo, like I'm on Vulture, yo, I'm on Complex. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
now you got stuff like Shade Room and all this other different types of stuff. They building major brands right now. You know what I'm saying? That
Yep.
can really compete like in the future, to be completely honest. And it's all built off social. Like we're in the easiest times to get into journalism, but
Yeah.
everybody isn't a good journalist. So like how it's like I was saying, like I could never be as good as journalist media person as you, because that's just not my natural talent. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mhm.
can get into it easily. I can easily make a social media page and get the posting about people, but having the actual talent and the actual content that really lasts, you know what I'm saying? I could never, you know, create something like you could create. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's so much opportunity there for people who have that natural talent to really start doing big shit. You know what I'm saying? And creating real brands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like I think it's just one of those things that, man, like you really just have to you have to be able to just keep at it and just, I mean, I just say really build the brand, because like once you get going, you're good. Like it's, of course it's harder to place things now because of pandemic. Like everybody's kind of, freezing budgets and stuff like that. But I'm getting more like opportunities for interviews and stuff than I've ever gotten. Like it ultimately didn't end up getting placed, but I was supposed to interview Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
like
fire.
his team reached out to me. But I mean, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you really gotta build that brand. And then like I just think that once it's there, you gotta realize like, hey, I need to make sure I got this shit myself, which is like I know there's a writer. I don't know if you're familiar with him. His name is Shea Serrano.
No, I'm not hip. I'm not hip.
So he actually done research on him. So he man, he has like 400,000 followers on Twitter. Like he's a very good writer, and I mean he's just
Yeah.
like the he used to write for the Ringer, which I mean he still does actually. He writes for the Ringer, and he started publishing books in like I want to say 2013 was his first one that came out, and he released a coloring book with Bun B. He released the Rap Yearbook, which basically tells what he believes the most important songs from, I want to say it was like 1979 until 2014 were in rap. I might have the years a little off, but he had that book. He has a book called something about movies and other things, and those books are New York Times bestsellers. Now, who knows what his estimated net worth is, but he just like he uploads pictures of his family and his workspace, and his house is huge. And he doesn't seem like he's hurt for anything. And the reason I'm saying all of that is that he figured out how to take that attention, that love for journalism, and he made it a part of his brand, and so now he can publish a book whenever, and he's good. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to have a similar path. Like I have a couple of book proposals out. I'm like working on an ebook and things like that, all in service of trying to transfer this. Basically, you're just kind of walking on a tightrope, and before I fall off the tightrope, I want to make my own thing. You see
So
what I'm
what would
saying?
you want your like? What do you, not what would you, but what are you planning to have your book or ebook about? Like what is it going to be around?
So the main thing, I think that like usually a lot of people ask me, and a lot of people like joke about it. They always say like, "Yo, like how the hell are you locking in, so many opportunities?" And mind you, like it's like I don't necessarily think I don't think I'm smarter than anyone. Like honestly, my GPA when I graduated college was like a 2.2. Like just because like I really like fucked up like my freshman year. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I got it back up, but somewhat. But like I just, what I'm saying, like I figured out how to really do this, man. So a lot of people always ask me, like, how do you lock in these, interviews, like how you do this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, yo, it's easy, bro. Like you just gotta, work a little bit harder, just, like stuff like that. And so a couple of years ago, or not a couple, it was 2019 when I got hired at MTV News. And, shortly after, I was just, riding on a high wave of happiness, I guess, from getting the job that that I really
Hmm.
wanted. And so I wrote like 4,000 words, just basically to freelancers, like, yo, like this is how I've been doing this stuff. Because another thing too is that a lot of these places, like I think I was saying before, they only really hire in New York or Los Angeles. Like if you're not there, you're asked out. Like good luck getting a job. And what helped me with MTV News was that they saw my work ethic. Like they put a call for pitches out, and I'm talking about I do an article for them, and like no bull, the day I turned it in, I got 3 other ideas for them. And that went on for like 2 months. And then they were just like, hey, we want to bring you on. Like, you really know, what the hell you're doing. And you know what I'm saying? And so, like I like after getting that job, I wrote like 4,000 words basically about that. And it was just kind of a play on the 48 laws of power. It was like 48 just different tips, for, aspiring journalists. and I published it through this amazing platform called Black Creatives, where a lot of people read it, and so I still had the skeleton of the document because I wrote 4,000 words, but they kind of trimmed it to like 2,000. And so what I did basically is I got rid of a lot of the fluff, and I've just been filling it out and explaining what I mean in those tips, and just kind of changing it to where it's also telling you how to have more success during the pandemic. And then also just kind of like what like we're talking about too is just taking your ability as a freelancer and turning it into a brand, like turning it into to where you won't need to worry about whether you get something placed or not. And so the tentative title that I have for it is called Putting Words to Work. And it pretty much just explains that. Like, it's just showing you how to make it as a freelancer. And then also, like, the second half really is just about how to take that and then figure out what to do with it afterwards. Because once you get established as a freelancer, you can only, jump around for so many places for so long. Like, I've seen established music journalists, they kind of get, I'm not going to say bitter, but they really don't like the fact that they had this level of success and now they don't. Like they have it harder getting published this place, this, that, and the third, and they're angry and they take it out on younger writers and stuff. And it's just like that kind of thing happens when you build that brand. You don't do anything with it because it's cool. Yeah, every editor wants to work with you, yada yada yada. But I realize that's not gonna last forever, and I don't want that to be my thing. Like I don't want to just be the guy that gets interviews everywhere. So I'm trying to figure out how to really take that and put
You
it
trying to
somewhere.
make a real asset out of what you're doing, like
Yeah,
literally. And I feel like, honestly, a lot of people will buy that book, dude. Like a lot of people will buy that book. Like a lot of people will buy that because number one, and this is how I know a lot of people will buy it. Number one, you have the credentials. So that's the major thing because a lot of people try to sell info type of products that don't have credentials. And
yeah,
then the disconnect is there because it's like, okay, I see you like you I see you sound like you know what you're talking about, but I can't necessarily prove you know what you're talking about. So now I'm either not gonna buy it or it's gonna take me a very, very long time to buy it. Because some people are good at faking it
yeah,
a lot, like really, really faking it very well, and to the point where somebody buys something. Because I know a lot of people who have, like in my space, it's a lot of people who have these like imaginary businesses and they selling courses and shit. And I'm like, and you try to go and find the actual business that they built, and you can't find it. They're just
yeah,
selling a course. Like, and it blows my mind every single time. I'm like, how are people still buying this? Like, how are people still interested? But it's like you get good enough at faking it, you can get somebody there. But once you actually had them credentials behind what you're talking about, that's number one going to make you skip a lot of steps. And especially if it's in present time. That's another thing too. Like if you're doing shit in present time and people seeing it going on, and then you have something on the back end that you're selling, it's like the stuff that you're doing in present time is promoting everything. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you just making a vlog, and then
yeah,
and then it's promoting whatever it is that you're selling. So like number one is that. Secondly, why I feel like that should have worked is because the social media age that we in right now, like it's so easy for people to get into journalism, when people had a talent, and then it's easy to get into journalism, then they have a roadmap that you selling them. It's like is people eat that up, and I feel like all ages of people can buy that too. It's kids in high school can buy it. Kids in high school can buy, because I'm pretty sure, I don't think it's an age limit to like who can write, is it?
no, not of course not.
Yeah,
It
so
isn't.
like, so I feel like you got kids in high school that can be buying your stuff. People, like, man, I honestly feel like that'll really, I feel like it'll really, really work well, to be honest. Like, and you can do a lot with that. You can get a book, and then on the other end, you can have like upsells, maybe of how to, templates or what to say to pitch to a, you know what I'm saying? Like, like
Yeah,
you can go a lot of different ways with that. So I definitely feel like it'll work, man, for sure. That's definitely what's up. That's definitely what's up. So so as far as, okay, so now we got you pretty much developing an actual asset behind your talent. So pretty much you're not just like a 9 to 5 type of dude like other people. They just taking the credentials and cool with the 9 to 5. You actually trying to make like an asset, because honestly, this book that you making is something that can feed your kids. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like literally, so that's pretty dope. So now moving back into the let's move back into the credentials. How are you getting, like, how did this whole like Pusha T and all of this stuff happen? Because I seen him mention you on Twitter or something like that, like not too long ago. So like,
Oh yeah.
how did that entire situation come about?
Yeah. So man, I mean, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, he knows better than anyone. Like Virginia is such a, and I don't say it's a closed off place, but like it's really hard to really do anything here, bro. Like, and I mean, and I've seen people say it's a joke, but there are people serious. Like we have a shipyard that's like 20 minutes from me, and they be saying like people would be like, "Oh, you get to the shipyard, that's like making it to the NFL," you know, like shit like that. And so, man, it's just, man, like just being from Virginia and being able to like, I guess just be a journalist. Like he sees that, and like he started his record label, and he officially announced it in February, and he announced the artist. And so, you know, I know the senior director of publicity, and so after, like, I used to do a thing for MTV News called Bop Shop, where me and the rest of the staff basically picked our favorite songs of the week. And one week I picked his artist song because I was genuinely fucking with it. I was like, okay, this is cool. And so I got a message from his senior director of publicity. He was like, "Hey man, Push wants to hop on the phone with you." And so I was like, cool, this is amazing. But and it's probably sounds stupid, like, yo, I got like 15 like phone meetings and things to do like today. So I didn't know when it was gonna happen. And so, like fast forward like 2 months after that, that's when I got laid off. And so I was like, like they hit us with the, like, so we got you the severance package, you good for like 3-4 months ish. So, in that time I'm like plotting my next steps. Like immediately after I got laid off, like the day of, I'm like, yo, I'm not about to, I'm not trying to just go back to not doing anything. While I'm trying to, like, because the way it was set up was that we couldn't even work for anyone, because if we did, they would like take away some of ours. It was just so weird, and so I didn't want to just sit twiddling my thumbs for a few months. So I first I reached out back to senior director of publicity, and he was just like, we talked on the phone for like an hour and a half, and he was just basically telling me like, yeah, Push knows who you are, yada yada yada. So I was like, okay, cool. So what I did immediately after was I actually DM'd him on Instagram, and I was just like, yo, this is who I am, yada yada yada. And what I did too was, well, so what he had told me then, he was like, Trey, what's your number? Let's talk soon. I didn't see that for like another 2 days. So I was like, man, look, I think I feel like I messed it up again. And so I just kind of did some research, man. Like back to what you were saying about how important social media is, right? So he had an interview, because my goal then was like, okay, cool. So I got this journalism thing down packed. Now, what I want to learn, because well, and then that's one back up real quick. So even before I got into journalism, man, I figured out the importance of a brand, just because like I've been studying like ebooks about like like selling things on Shopify, and like drop shipping and things like that. Like before I got into journalism, I was really uh not to say I stopped being, but I was really into entrepreneurship. I was like, yo, I'm gonna make some shit crack. And then when I got into journalism, I kind of focused more on that. So when I got back, I was like, yo, so this job is over, cool. But realistically, and I don't even know if I keep saying it, like they were paying me like 70,000, which is a lot to for a journalist, which is why I think journalism sucks. And so like they're paying me 70,000. I'm not trying to make anything less than that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna build a foundation to where, that's gonna be chump change. And so I figured the first thing to do, aside from the journalism, I want to study copywriting. I want to study marketing. And the area that both of those things really align in, what I was explaining to some people at the label, was just like the music industry, like creative ways to sell things, creative ways to, reach people. That's huge there. And so I knew immediately, I was like, where can I work best for that? That's not LA in New York in the immediate time, Airwave Music Group. So I went to Push's. I was reading interviews that he did about Airwave Music Group, and he had one on Complex. Where, and here's the thing: so I remember when he announced it, mad people looking for jobs, but nobody was really, I guess, getting in touch with him about that. And so, bro, literally all I did, I read this interview. In the interview, he literally says the name of the general manager, but nobody picked up on that. Like he named the guy in the interview. It was like, yeah, this guy's running all of that. So I plugged the name into Twitter and found the guy. He had like 900 followers, and I immediately like, bro, like no bull, like, bro, I messaged him, and within a week we were on the phone, and like, and each time that we were talking, like, I gave visual aids, like, he's like, yeah, man, we're gonna outline, what your skills are, blah blah. I was like, cool. Like we exchanged messages. I sent him like the bullet points of my resume and like just like little things like that, so he knows exactly what I can do, what I've done, links to everything. Like he's not like waiting for me to hop back on
Mm-hmm.
the phone with him. And so like after like I want to say like a month of that, man, he was like really sold. He was like, "Hey man, we want to bring you on." And so just back to the important social media, man. Like that one email, like not one that like one message, sounding like that.
Shit, it's honestly two lessons in this. Remember when we was talking about? Remember when I said is the real value is in your contact list, and if you have a
Yeah,
great contact list, you will never not have a job. So like this kind of goes back to even that as well with that first touch point of that guy reaching out to you or you reaching out to him. You know what I'm saying? Wherever whichever way that went, that was that first touch point, that first connection right there. And you probably didn't know how you were ever going to even use that connection probably in the future. And then long
yeah,
and behold, that contact list, you dusted that shit off, put dusted that shit off and got to going to work on it. And the way that you started going to work on it was literally back to social media, man. Social media is literally a fucking cheat code, man.
it's a game changer, man.
It's it's literally a cheat code, and especially if you got the hustle behind, like how you caught that small detail and you follow the trail until you found that dude on Twitter, and then that's another thing right there, just having the hustle behind what you have going on. A lot of people don't have. A lot of people may have one and two. They may have the ability. They may have a contact list. They may have the social media tactics, but then it goes down in a hustle. Like how deep into it are you really willing to go? You know what I'm saying? Even down to the minor details of you like sending somebody, the bullet points of of your resume. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff sticks out. Like whether that dude even said it to you or not, like that type of stuff really, really, really sticks out, man. Like like you don't even know. And that's in that last part hustle, that's where a lot of people really lack. And a lot of people won't really admit that they lack it either though. And a lot of people fake it for a long time, like fake hustle. Like somebody hustling if they can keep it up for more than let's just say more than 90 days. Because a lot of people will
Yeah,
hustle for 90 days and then just fall completely off. So like it's like a 90-day trial period until you actually tap into like something semi hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot
yeah.
of people are not really willing to go there. You know what I'm saying? And the people that's really willing to go there, they win every single time, man. Like they win every single like one of my favorite movies even is like pretty much based off this. One of my favorite movies is The Pursuit of Happiness. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies, yo. Like and that movie right there is like the definition of hustle though, like for real. But yeah, man, that's honestly super, super, super dope. So okay. Now let's move into one more thing because I think we closing in on the end of the pod. So future for you and entrepreneurship specifically. Okay, so you had a book. Would you ever look into like having your own like media company or no? Would you ever
That's
entertain it?
that's something I've been thinking about, man. Like, so I think one good thing, like when I think about money, is that like I really want to earn to where I have the time to think. And I know so far I have at least three books planned, like three nonfiction books. I got two proposals out the way, and then the one that I've already been working on is like almost done. And so I'm in the process of working on a music ad agency called Grin. I'm trying to get the details of that sorted out, And so the media company might be coming in the future. I kind of, I've been thinking about it off and on, but I haven't really put anything down because, like, like I have to talk to my girlfriend. She'll tell me like all the time, like, yeah, you should do that, and she'll constantly close in on making the media company. But like I'll say it's, I'm saying it's harder than you think, and then she'll be like, "What's hard about it?" And I'm like, "Damn, you're right." So it's just one of the things that I need to actually like sit down and think about.
But you are entertaining it though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
I
man.
feel like you can definitely do with you just saying that you was planning on putting out a book. Like with that being said alone, I feel like you know, I feel like you can definitely do the media company because your head is already in the entrepreneurial space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your mind is already entertaining it. So I definitely feel like you can do it, man. You got, like I said, you got the credentials, you got the hustle, like, and the connections. You ever building connections, man. I feel like you can really, really, really do some crazy shit, man. So now that we had this interesting conversation, I always try to wrap up with one question. So we talk a lot about social media. So who is one person in your following, right,
Uh-huh.
that you will want to do business with? Or maybe that you just simply just admire. So who is one person in your following that you will want to do business with or that you just simply just admire?
Like, man, honestly, like I'd have to say off the top of the head, Shea Serrano, like only because I've been personally invested in his career from afar. Like, man, like like, we all have free time on our laptops and stuff. I'll just do my Googles, and I think after I bought his book, man, I was just looking and just seeing his story. Like he started, I mean, he started much later, but he started writing in like his mid 30s, and man, I'm talking about maybe 3 4 years later. Like I said, we don't know what his financial situation is like, but he got huge house. Like he's and another thing too is that he's constantly giving away money to people who need it on Twitter. Which I mean, I just think as somebody who wants to do things like that, like that's awesome. He'll never ask for shit in return. He just drop it, but he's not like in a like he's not doing it in a snooty way. He'll be like, hey, this brand paid me 1,500 for a sponsored tweet. This is that tweet. Who needs it? And he'll just drop it to somebody, or like somebody will spend like $20 on his book, and he'll randomly send them like 1,000, like just little like shit like that, and
That's
just
fire.
yeah, and just being able to do that, like just being able to like the title of the book that I'm like putting like he puts his words to work. Like he knows how to write, he knows how to build an audience. He built the brand, and now he's continually reaping from that. And it just looks like a dream. And I mean, I just think like being able to do that, being able to take time to work on books, like I can like look at other things, like whether it's investing or looking into tech and just different things like that, man. Like just looking at that blueprint has inspired me into what I'm trying to do.
That's fire. I'm gonna look this guy up too, cause the way that you hyping him up right now, he gotta be the real deal. So I'm definitely about to look this guy up, and I like seeing stuff like that too, man. Kind of remind me of that dude Plute when you talking about giving away money and stuff like that. Kind of
Yeah,
remind me of that guy. He's saying pretty cool, but yeah, man. Definitely appreciate you coming on, man, and having this conversation with me, man. This is definitely super dope and super informative too, man. Especially when you was talking about the whole process of how articles even get put out. But like, man, I definitely appreciate you for coming on the pod. Now let everybody know where they can find you one more time before we end this thing, and then we're gonna get out of here.
yeah, man. Look, thanks for having me. And my like Twitter IG is Trey Alst, Treyals. You can find me up there just talking junk and promoting stuff.
Bet. So you got it. My guy Trey came on the pod, and that is the end of the show, y'all. Peace, and see you on the next episode.